Nobody ever warned you about the incessant checking on your child when they're sleeping to see if they're still breathing, or if they're hitting every milestone Google says they should, worrying about each phase of development and wondering if the shots they receive will impair their learning and social skills, or if the childhood trauma you're still processing will have an adverse effect on your child's mental and emotional well-being. And even the scariest thought of having to depart from your child should you pass away. These are the fears of motherhood no one prepares you for. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I definitely want to say thank you to all of my subscribers, every single person that has made a comment on my videos. And if this is not something you're interested in, I totally understand. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and bypass this part because it is really integral for me to acknowledge the support that I've received on this channel from the very beginning. And it's really important for me also to kind of set the stage for where this channel is going, where I'm going as an individual, and just really wanting to again say thank you. I would not be in this position of not only just hitting one of my biggest goals that I had 4 years ago when the pandemic was happening, of just being monetized, having so many watch hours. There was so much that led up to me getting to the point of wanting to even do this thing on YouTube and starting my channel and discussing different things, and having that commitment to do that and hitting those milestones really meant a lot. And I would not have been able to get to that point had it not been for every single one of you that have supported me since the very beginning. So again, I want to say thank you. I also want to kind of usher in a new wave of what this channel will look like, what the content will look like. As you can see, honey, we've done a little bit of redecorating. We've done a little bit of just revamping and kind of getting in a different mode and mindset. And aesthetically, I'm always going to try to do that as well, because that's just my thing. I love to make spaces beautiful and comfy and cozy and warm, and just giving us the environment to be our most vulnerable selves, which is essentially the direction and the path that this channel is going. We have done a lot of inner work and healing through every video that we've done. Yeah, it seems sensationalized that I have crazy titles like, why your baby daddy hates you, how to get your baby daddy back, all of the things, right, that the BNC encompassed. But if you've watched those videos, and definitely I implore you to do that if you have not, but when you go through the content of these videos, there is so much meat and potatoes in there, right? There's not a lot of filler. It really is concrete advice, concrete conversation that really does, encourage each one of us to continue on our healing journeys, begin our healing journey, figure out and kind of go a little bit deeper as to why we're even in the situations that we're in. The basis of the channel was, again, to give more of a shining light on baby mamas, dispel the narrative and the myth that all baby mamas are ghetto, uneducated, bitter, all of those different stereotypes, and to tell a different story, and to also open up conversation that would allow us to heal out of those scenarios should we have fallen victim to them just through our own, human experience. So a lot of words, a lot of mouthiness. I, think that it's necessary though. And again, it does kind of usher in the new wave of where this channel is going, which is ultimately healing. We have to go a little bit deeper. I know some of us would like to stay on the surface and kind of just talk about whatever makes us feel peaceful in the moment, or whatever makes us feel good in the moment. But there is always a reason why we think the way we think, we behave the way we behave, we act the way. There's always a reason behind it, and it is our duty as soul beings to dig deep, have that introspection, pay attention to the reflections that we're seeing back of ourselves through other people that we have in our lives. It is our duty as spiritual beings to kind of go through that process in order to get to the highest version of ourselves. And if you are interested in living that life, if you're interested in reaching your highest self, becoming your best self, and that is physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, if you're interested in that, then this is where you want to be. There are going to be so many conversations that really aid us in going on that journey. And we will be going on that journey together. Nobody reaches a certain point of healing where they just stop and they are completely healed. And some people will say until it's time for you to go. But there are people surely that have passed on to whatever realm is after this that I'm sure have not been at their highest selves. So it really is a choice. It's not even a guarantee that through passing or through God calling you back home that you will have fulfilled every single prophecy and destiny that you maybe could have or should have. So it really is up to us as individuals to do that. So again, a mouthful. If you didn't want to hear it, I hope you passed by it. We're not going to be doing a lot of, sugarcoating and what is the word I'm looking for? We're not going to be doing a lot of coddling. Okay, that's not really what we're going to be doing here. And I totally understand if this is not something that you're interested in at this particular moment in time. Definitely, again, implore you to watch some of my old content, tap into that and see if any of that resonates with you and can help you. And any of the new conversations that we begin to have on our healing journey, feel free to jump in at whatever time, fast forward if you need to, and we can go from there. So, first thing that I want to talk about today in this episode is the fears of motherhood. So, as many of you know, I entered into a new phase of life, becoming a mother for the second time in March of this year. I had a beautiful baby girl, and now I am a mother of two girls. I have one that is 16 and one that is 3 months and a week from this video. And through both experiences, they were both very, very different because of the age gap, because of the age that I was when I conceived them both and had them both. And what I can say and what I can recall, even with my first child, is there were a lot of thoughts that go through your mind and fears that go through your mind of everything. You think about all of these different things when it comes to being a mom. And if you don't have your own innate fears, because I was a younger mom, sometimes ignorance can be bliss. So because you don't really have a super large vantage point on what life really entails when you're young, or the younger you are typically, even if you don't innately have those fears, they will be projected onto you for sure. You can guarantee and bet that mama, grandma, auntie, your peers, your friends, you're going to have some level of projection about what you can expect when you become a mother. And with the child that I just had in March of this year, I think I really started to feel the pressure of what it is to be a mom. And there are so many fears that one has when you are becoming a mother. I really want to drive home the fact that You know, we can tend to focus on a lot of different things when we are thinking about having children. You know, not every woman wants to have a child. I've definitely done videos and posts on Instagram and things like that. You know, not every woman, wants to be a mom. I understand that. For the women that want to be mothers, that are mothers, you know, specifically for the ones that have not maybe yet conceived, but they want to. A lot of the times we are thinking of, and let's just be real, you know, and I really want to be honest about that. A lot of us are, and also the day that I would try to revamp, you know, this is kind of like a coming out party, so to speak, with this video. And they're doing construction right next door, right next to my building, right outside of my window, as a matter of fact. And, you know, they used to say back in the day, the devil is always busy, you know. So there's that. But if you hear the noise, and that's what that is. But so many of us are focused on very superficial things when it comes to having a baby. Baby, we thinking about the names. We thinking about, you know, the clothes, how they gonna look, you know, who they gonna look like, what activities they're gonna do, what they're gonna be when they grow up, how so-and-so is going to spoil them. They're thinking about, you know, where you're gonna go, where you're gonna take them, how cute they're gonna be, the pictures you're gonna take, the first birthday parties, the baby shower, the gender reveal. You know, we're thinking about a lot of things that are very surface level, very superficial, to be honest. And we are human beings, right? So we don't have to feel guilty about those predispositions about ourselves. We're light and dark, left and right, up and down. We are balanced individuals, balanced human beings, or balanced entities, just like everything else in the world and everything else in our environment in the universe. So it's nothing to be ashamed of, but we do have to be knowledgeable, and we need to acknowledge the fact that there are other things we should be focused on. If you're focused on that, kudos to you. I think we all have a little bit of that, you know, varying degrees of you know, caring about those things, worrying about those things, and it's okay for us to feel excited. But literally, what if your child doesn't even make it to this earth? What if your child is born with extreme complications? What if you go through the process of giving birth to your child and endure extreme complications with trying to bring your child into the world? Okay? Me being an older mom, older, you know, in clinical terms, or, you know, with the idea of what they say on Google, and, you know, all of these different things of, you know, what the age is of a mom that's kind of old, or considered old, or a geriatric pregnancy is the clinical term. I dealt with that. You know, I had lost a lot of blood when I gave birth to my daughter. I was in the hospital for a full week. I did not get to go home and recover with my daughter, you know, the next day or maybe the day after that. You know, I was on high alert. I had preeclampsia. I had low iron. I was anemic. I went through the full gamut of like scary things when it came to bringing my child here. By the grace of God, she didn't have any complications, but I had tons of them, right? So are we thinking about those things? Are we thinking about what the potential, you know, things what about the potential harmful toxins that could, you know, be emitted or ingested by your child just by taking them out on a walk? You know, what about, there's so many things, you guys. There's so many things. And I hope that this resonates with you. If it does, definitely let me know in the comments if you have some of your own fears that you either have projected on you, or that you have experienced through motherhood at any period of time through your motherhood journey. I'm just thinking off the top of my head some of the ones that are, you know, the scariest. And even, you know, I spoke to earlier, you know, about the shots thing, right? Now, it's only so much I can say on this here YouTube. So we're not gonna, you know, do too much. And it's a very sensitive subject, you know, and I think you can kind of understand what I'm saying with me saying it. But there have been some moms that have attributed their child's development, or lack of their development, they've attributed that to some of the different medical interventions that their children have participated in. Okay, you see, I'm trying to, and it is something to think about and consider, right? We don't know. We're not, in the pharmaceutical industry, most of us, we do not sit in a lab and make different things to promote these medical interventions, and we're not just we're not administering them to children, so we don't really know what all goes into it. We just know as mothers how we see our child one day and how something may happen and we see our child another day. These are things that we have to think about as moms. These are things that are scary. These are things that are not things that we think about all the time or that we talk about all the time. I think that that's relative too, right? Like, are we having these conversations? A lot of us are not even with our own parents. A lot of us are not. And maybe some of that has to do with the fact that, if we acknowledge those things as being real fears, then maybe we will attract those things to us. Maybe we make those things more real, and the susceptibility for those things to actually happen, we make that more real the more that we acknowledge it. But I think unearthing those fears and where those fears come from and, preparing ourselves, I think, for anything, I think is a much better policy than to ignore and to kind of focus on the easy parts, right? We kind of got to do both. We can't just focus on, and I keep saying kind of, like we have to, right? And it's a choice. It is a choice. So I'm kind of contradicting myself. I guess I'm not saying that you have to, right? Because we all have free will and we all have choice, but you would be well advised to prepare yourself the best way that you can when it comes to this motherhood journey, because you don't know what is going to get thrown at you. What about the fears about partnership with the person that you've created the child with? A lot of my content has been to assist baby mamas who are already in jacked up situations with their baby daddy. They don't get along, they have, a tumultuous history, et cetera, et cetera. But what about the moms that have entered into marriage and then had children? The ones who actually were in happy relationships with their significant other and chose to bring a child into the world. What about those situations? And what about the fears behind whether or not, this baby will change the dynamic of that relationship? Will this man still see me as this beautiful sexual object or entity, this goddess? Will I still be perceived as that, or will I be an old frumpy dumpy mama? You know what I'm saying? Like, what about the fears of whether or not this man will still continue to show up, not only for you, but show up for their child? What kind of father will they be? If you guys don't make it, will that father still show up and be the type of father that you felt like they could be to your child? In some situations, it doesn't really work out that way, and you end up seeing a certain side of the father that you never thought that you would see. And then vice versa, right? It goes both ways. I'm sure for dads who never thought that their baby mamas or their wife or whatever would play keep away with their children. So these are real fears. These are real things that, one would think about when it comes to being a mom and having children. Just want to take a breath and a sip of water. Are you guys drinking your water? Make sure you're drinking your water. I have to remind myself that too. I'm back on the coffee train, child, so I have to make sure that I'm also drinking my water as well. So a lot of things to think about, ladies. A lot of things to think about if you're wanting to have a child. And this is not to scare you. This is to have dialogue and open conversation about thoughts that a lot of mothers have. We just don't discuss and we just don't talk about. It's really important that you honor the way that you feel. You don't suppress your anxieties or your fears. It is totally normal for you to have those. And nobody else understands that experience but you, even other moms. You are your own individual, and your journey and experience is going to look completely different than someone else's, and things that may worry you or be of concern for you may not be of concern to another mom. Whatever yours are, make sure that you're acknowledging those and make sure that you are finding a way to process them, whether it be through journaling, whether the back of my journal is so dirty, child, okay, so whatever. But, you know, journaling, I have this really cool journal. It has, actually got this from Target. And who is this? Danielle Coke. Really powerful words on the front of this journal. I am an complete advocate of journaling and making sure that you get your thoughts and your feelings on paper. Whatever you have to do. They even have a new app in your iPhone. If you're an iPhone user, they have an app for journaling. Get your thoughts out, right? Get on your voice memo. I have a homegirl who will, you know, do voice memos of how she feels or what she's going through, you know, just to kind of get her thoughts out. Whatever it is, it's helpful to not suppress, you know, those fears and anxieties, because I think what happens too is the more we do that as our children develop, you project those fears on your kids. You start to project those fears on your kids, and they feel that. Oh my gosh, you know, me and my daughter, my oldest daughter, we joke a lot because, you know, she was kind of my guinea pig. You know, when you have children young, and then if you choose to have children later, your first child, or even, you know, if there's not so much of a big gap, but when your first child usually is your test run. You are testing it out. You are testing the motherhood journey out. You really don't know what you're doing. You're doing your best, and you're trying to follow all the rules and make sure you check all the boxes, which of course you inevitably don't. You don't do any of them, hardly. So, you know, I'm certain I've projected so much onto her from my own childhood, you know, trying to recreate and correct certain things that I went through that I didn't want for her. You know, definitely fears that I had about, you know, her development and, you know, her character, personality things, you know, all of that stuff, you know. So you have to kind of handle up on those things, because if not, you know, you end up bleeding over onto your children with those issues. So definitely keep that in mind as well. Yeah, and this I knew was not going to be a super long video. I did want to come and just kind of share some of those preliminary thoughts that one might have when thinking about having a child. Another one before we go that I definitely want to acknowledge, probably the biggest, right? Well, I have a couple of more. So one I just thought of off the top of my head too. What about thinking about your child getting bullied? Having the fear of your child being bullied or somebody, you know, harming your child. I think about that kind of stuff because I'm a fierce mama bear. So I think about, oh my God, I pray to God that nobody tries my child. I pray to God that nobody, you know, does something harmful to my child, because I don't want to be put in a position where I feel like I have to protect and really be that mama bear, you know, to whatever extent that may be necessary. You know, do we even think about that, you know? And just the angst that a mother may have with the decisions that she has to make if somebody harms her child or tries to harm her child, and, you know, making the decision of whether or not she's going to do something that puts her in jail, or, you know, forces her to become incarcerated. These are real thoughts. Like, is somebody going to really try my baby and I'm going to have to get with them? Like, you know, and the one that I was thinking about before that one is, what about the fear of death? Oh my gosh, even saying that. Definitely going to be doing some conversations and some episodes on death, because I think we all have a very unique experience and relationship with death. But as a mom, when you're thinking about your child leaving the earth before you, which is even crazier, but it's probably the biggest thought, the biggest fear for me, for sure, is your child leaving the earth before you. Mothers that have had to endure that and go through that, I'm sure, will probably tell you, you know, no one knows what that feeling is like unless you've been there, unless you've experienced it. No one would be able to relate to that. And everybody fears it. Every mother, I think, fears burying their child before, burying their child before themselves. And what about also you leaving the earth before your child and leaving them without their mother? Yes, if you have tribe, if you have a great, father to your children, if you have godparents, if you have, parents, just the community that you have around you, if you have access to that, then, you feel like, okay, my child will be okay. There's a lot of love around my child, but they still won't have you. They still won't have their mother, the one that knows them the best. They won't have you there. They'll have every memory and all the things that you taught them, but what about every milestone and the times where they really need you and they don't have you? And if you're spiritual, of course they can call upon you. They can, have their altar set up. They can honor you and call upon you when they need you. And I do believe that our spiritual ancestors and our ancestors do come back when we call upon them and we need them the most. So they're there esoterically and spiritually, but on a physical level, we are physical beings on this plane. We're not just spiritual, we are physical too in 3D. So to not have them in physical form, or to, for them not to have you in physical form, that's a fear that you have as a mother as well. That's probably the biggest fear that I have, is leaving my children or my children leaving me. And so we got to think about that when we talk about having babies. And we also have to stop shaming other women for not wanting to be mothers, because these are some of the fears that they have in their minds. I think that because, we attribute women not wanting to have kids, a lot of that we attribute to, and I'm talking about myself here too, right? A lot of us attribute, women not wanting to have kids to it being man related. Oh, well, I don't want to have no children because I don't want to be involved with no man, and I don't want to be tied down, and I don't want to have any obligations that are tying me to any one thing. Just because they said that I should have a baby, just because they said that I should be a mom, I should be a mom. No, you may not want to do that. You may not, want to do that. And a lot of it may be predicated on those kind of reasons, meaning I don't even know if my child is going to survive. I don't know if I'm going to survive. I don't know if, I don't know. I don't know what this experience is going to bring to me. And what if my child doesn't even make it here? People have stillborns. That is a real thing, where your child, you have to actually give birth to a child that is not breathing. These are the real parts of motherhood and the fears of motherhood that nobody is warning you about. Nobody is talking about, and we can't judge each other for having the idea of, okay, I'm not ready for that. I don't think that I can deal with that. I don't think that my spirit is ready to embark on that journey with those possibilities at the forefront, or as a possibility. So let's respect that, and let's really honor those fears for what they really are as real realities. Again, this is a 3D world. These are things that really can take place. We're not guaranteed to be here forever. We don't know the day, the time, the hour. We don't know, So all in all, what's so powerful, I guess we can end it on a light note, because I can, these conversations that we're going to have, child, some of these conversations may be a little morbid, but at the end of the day, we always have the choice to look at it, as a whole, right? Macro, not micro. So, pardon me, while we are thinking about all of these different fears going into motherhood and journeying into motherhood, we also want to think about the beauty and the strength of a woman when she knows all of those things as being possibilities, and she still makes the decision to have them anyway, to be a mother anyway, with those fears in mind, and say, God will navigate me through. Universe, source will guide me through. Whatever things that I am set to face as a mother, I'll take it, because if it means that I'll have the experience of bringing life into the world and giving a little spirit being a chance to live their life, walk their journey, walk their path, and I'll do it. I will do it and take what comes with that, and just, again, hope that God and Source guides my steps and never puts more on me than I can bear. That is powerful. That is really, really powerful. And none of us would be here living, breathing, talking. We wouldn't be here having this moment together if our mothers didn't make that decision. So it just lets you know how powerful we are as women, how powerful we are as human beings and spirit beings. And we should not let fear in any capacity. Motherhood is no exemption, no exception. We should not let our fears control us. We should not let our fears control our mind, our spirits, our bodies. We should move freely and have faith that God, Source, universe will align our paths exactly as they should be. And there is nothing on us, there is nothing on us that we can't handle. Otherwise, we would not still be here. If there were situations or circumstances in which we could not, then maybe our time on this planet and on this earth would be done. But if we're still here, we still have fight in us. We still have the ability to make it through and to handle whatever comes our way. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If this resonated with you, if this helped you in any way, please leave a comment and let me know. I want to connect with you. If you are from any of my old content, any of the Baby Mama Chronicles content, the Love Live Life content, make sure that you drop a comment as well and let me know if this resonated with you too. We are definitely, again, on a new journey. We are going new places, and I hope that you will take that ride with me. I hope that you will journey through this process of healing with me. I want to be able to do this together, and our healing is really what's going to take us to where we need to go, and being the best people that we can be, attracting what we want to attract in our lives: abundance, finances, love, happiness, joy, healthy families, healthy friendships, healthy relationships in general. All of those things are going to be on the back of making sure that we are doing our healing work each and every day. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys really, really soon. Peace.